What's up everyone, it's a knife side here, and today I'm going to be doing my first impressions on my newest knife. This is the Spyderco Police. So the Police, I was doing some research on it. It was a knife developed in the 80s, I think, by Spyderco. And surprisingly, you would have never guessed it, it was developed for police. They wanted a thin but durable, big knife that they could use. And so this is what Spyderco made. And yeah, this is a older looking model. The newer ones, like the ones in K390, or just like the one in black G10, I think they're going to not say police and have a different handle scale. And I don't think they have a swedge either. But I got this. I was at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I was like, man, that looks cool. It looks old timey. It looks kind of retro. And I have a bunch of Spydercos, but I don't have very many older ones, and I think these are still in production, so this might have been made like sometime recently, but it looks old. So I thought it really looked cool, and so yeah, I bought it. But I'm just gonna be doing my first impressions on this. I've sharpened it, carried it for one full day, but I've had it rocking in my pocket for a couple days other than that. So yeah, let's go on to the looks. I already touched on it, but let me draw your attention to this blade. This swedge is something that you rarely ever see Spyderco do. I don't have one with like a swedge like this, and I think it just looks really cool. I just like swedges, man. They look good. This one, it's not very gradual. It's just almost like they stuck it right to the belt grinder, but I still think that sharp transition looks really good. And technically, this is better for stabbing since, you know, there is less material right here. But not that I'll need it for that. But, you know, it is a cool idea. I like how it says police on there, even though it's like a very generic font. I feel like that just makes it look better. I don't know, something about it. I like that. It is a just stainless steel handle, and so it's got this vertical kind of satin finish. It's almost like they just flattened it and they were like, well, let's just go with that. But I think it looks good. It does seem to scuff up pretty easy. Like there's a scuff there, and then one right there. But I plan on carrying it and using it, so I don't really care about that. But if you're going to try and keep this thing as more of a light use or a safe queen, realize it will scratch up pretty easy. But I think that it looks pretty cool. That all stainless one color look I am a fan of. So yeah, and also serrations just make it look cooler in my opinion. Let's talk about the blade. So for the steel, we got VG10. I assume a lot of people have used VG10. It's very basic steel, you know, stainless. I like VG10 as a whole. I'd probably take S30V over it, but I use it a lot. Or I have a kitchen knife in VG10, and I really like how that thing sharpens and strops, and it performs decently well in the kitchen. And also VG10, it's not the best when it's not gonna have the best edge stability, not gonna hold an edge as long as M4 or something, but overall gets the job done. I like it. I like how it maintains. You don't have to worry about rust, or stropping is very easy. It's on the softer side, which, you know, I don't really like, but that's something you see more with these lower end stainless steels. But yeah, VG10, it's fine. You know, didn't hinder me from picking up the knife. So yeah, they do make these in K390 though. And I think they make a fully serrated K390, which that knife is just a beast. I bet that would be a great like yard work or construction type work knife. That full serration with K390, that's gonna be a really, really cool edge. But for the grind on this, I haven't measured the thinness behind the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I think it's a hollow grind. So most Spydercos you'll see have a full flat grind. Let me actually just measure this real quick. So this is a little bit thicker behind the edge, 24 thousandths behind the edge. I do feel like I noticed that, and it's probably because the grind isn't as high, so that's something I don't really like as much about it. Some people might make the argument that, oh, since this was designed for police, they purposely made it thicker behind the edge. I don't think they did. I think they just didn't have as much grind height, and so they just didn't grind it as thin. Most Spydercos our full flat ground get down to about 20 thousandths behind the edge. So even though this is hollow, I'd hope that it'd be thinner. But it has worked for me. I dropped the angle a little bit. I might drop it some more next time I sharpen. I would like it to be thinner, but you know, it's not the end of the world for me. So there is that. Blade shape is really good. Just, I like the low tip here, a very thin tip as well. That's great for EDC use. I really enjoy that. The serrations, I am kind of building my thoughts on serrations as a whole. The only negative I can see is sharpening them. Though from the factory though, Spyderco did a great job sharpening these serrations. These things are crazy sharp. Like it'll just push cut a piece of paper through just one tooth right here. I don't know if that's a proper term for it. But yeah, and using it in like cardboard, it does really good. I am kind of guilty of being one of those people who just kind of made fun of serrated edges because popular YouTubers do, and so it was just kind of in my head. But then I did some more research and was like, man, those are actually useful. The only downside is sharpening, so I need to learn sharpening. I can sharpen serrations. I have a work sharp thing with a skinny ceramic rod, but I never get them anywhere close to what that was from Spyderco. So I'll need to do some research. Maybe I'll pick up like a sharp maker rod, and I saw Michael Christie do sharpen a serrated blade with that. So maybe I'll try that. I don't know, but as a whole, serrations, they're really awesome to use. So I think I'm gonna get a Spyderco fully serrated because I just want to try it out. And I think the combo edge, it's underrated. You know, just looking at it, like a picture of it, you imagine, oh, there's only certain things you can cut with this and certain things you can cut with that. But a lot of times you end up just throwing it in material and slicing like that, and it just does a great job. So I'm excited to get some more use on it. Overall, I like this blade, just wish it was a little bit thinner. Let's go fit and finish and lockup. So lockup, really good. Back lock sometimes might have a little bit of up and down play, but this has like nothing. Side to side, nothing at all. Really solid on the lockup. For the centering, this is very good centering. And look how tight this blade is in this handle. It's very tight. I don't think this is running on washers or anything, which Spyderco does. I know with the native, but I haven't taken this thing apart, so can't really speak to that. One of the issues I found with the fit and finish is, listen, when you push this over, there's a little bit of play when it's not closed or when it's not locked out, and it'll rub the scale. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it is rubbing it a little bit. So if you use like your left hand, or I mean middle finger like that, you can flick it out. Or if you just kind of push it more up, you don't have that issue. But still, that's something you don't like to see. I haven't noticed any scratches on the blade, so maybe it won't be a visual issue, but you do feel it. So I guess that's what you get when you run this tight of tolerances. And that's something you don't want to see, but honestly doesn't bother me that much, if I'm being honest. I just said honestly, if I'm being honest. Not the best vocabulary coming today. Haven't done videos in a while, so I'm a bit rusty. But one thing I'm curious about this knife is the construction of it. So as you can see on this side, no pivot screw, no body screws. Looking at it from here, it looks like there's a seam on both sides of this. So I don't think this is like an integral, but maybe. I mean, it kind of looks, I know up here it's separate because there's this back spring that has to push down. But back here, this might be one full piece of stainless. And I don't know if there is a pivot behind this pocket clip, or it's just all kind of pinned together inside here. I don't know. But if that's the case, you're probably not taking this thing apart. So I know a lot of people won't like that. I haven't disassembled a knife in forever. I don't feel like people need to disassemble their knives as much as they think they do. For example, this Nkosi, I used this like the other day to cut open a bunch of bags of chicken, and I had a bunch of raw chicken juice inside the pivot, and I just kind of gave it a dish soap bath, used some WD-40, and it's flicking out good as new, and actually is smoother than when I got it. So yeah, I don't think people need to disassemble their knives that much, so it doesn't bother me when I can't. But I might be able to. I don't know. Maybe I'll flip this clip, but I kind of like making people mad, so I think I'm going to stick with tip down. But yeah, that's it for fit, finish, and lockup. I like back locks, by the way. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people are probably already commenting, police compression lock, and it's like, I don't know. Compression lock, it's cool. It's fun to play with. But ergonomically, back locks are a lot better for me because sometimes the compression lock presses into my hand. But I will say compression locks are more fun and easier to operate one-handed. Now for the carry on this, like I said, I'm carrying this thing tip down in the pocket. I know it's crazy, but it probably carries about the same tip down versus tip up. And I like it on a big knife like this because I can just pull it out of my pocket and then my thumb is already right by the thumb hole, ready to go. If I don't think it, this usually this is a whole nitpick, the pocket clip conversation. But if I was carrying it tip up in this position, I'd probably pull it out something like this, and I'm holding the knife like that, so I kind of got to resituate and then open it. So for me, tip down makes more sense because it's not an issue ergonomics wise, and yeah, it works fine. The weight, I haven't noticed this being heavy at all. It is full stainless steel, but I haven't noticed it being too heavy compared to like the military. This is I don't have my scale with me, so very redneck, but this is definitely heavier than the military. So yeah, there's that. But the military isn't a very heavy knife, so because this is pretty much just G10 and one skinny little liner here and a blade. But yeah, carry overall good. I usually don't have problems when it comes to carry with knives. For the ergonomics, my only fault for this is probably the thinness. Like I said, they wanted to make a thin knife, but this handle is extremely thin. Let me compare it to the military handle thickness wise. And I don't feel like the military is that thick of a handle, but this thing is very thin. I'll get a measurement on it because I'm curious. What is that? About, let's just round that up to 300 thousandths, 3/10 of an inch, right? I think I read that right. Hopefully I'm not making myself look stupid. But yeah, overall really thin handle, but the ergonomic design, it's good. It feels good in my hand. It's just if I had to pick one knife to cut a bunch of stuff with, I don't know if this would be it just because of how thin the handle would be. But I haven't noticed any hot spots or anything, so I don't mind that. Also, no jimping here, which I like, you know. Spyderco usually puts jimping up here, maybe not here on the Delica, but they usually like to put jimping in a bunch of spots, and I don't think their knives need it. So yeah, feels really good in the hand. Just wish it was a little bit thicker, but I'm fine with it being the thinness that it is. For the action's nothing crazy. If you like to fidget with your knives, that's a big factor for you. This probably isn't the knife for you. It's more of a slow roll out, and then you can do that and then push it back in. I can flick it out with a little bit of wrist, Spidey flick. I can do that too with some wrist, but it's not a great action. It is smooth. There is that little hiccup at the start from rubbing the scale a little bit, but overall the action, it's not the best, but I don't mind that. It's not really something I care about. For the value, 170 bucks. I usually don't go as deep into the value now, and my talk on value really isn't very complex. This knife overall, I'm happy what I paid for it. I've never been like, man, if that thing was 150 bucks, I would have been so much happier with it. I think it's a fair price, especially for how big of a knife this is. It is using stainless steel, not much extra finishing done to it, and VG10, which is on the lower end nowadays for knife steels. I wouldn't classify it as a budget steel, but maybe like right over budget. But still, VG10's fine. I don't really need anything more than it. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with this knife. I'm excited to carry it and use it some more. It is really big, so I don't like carrying it as much, or I don't really like using it in front of people that I think might be scared of it, which at work, people know I like knives. So I don't think they would be that shocked if they saw this. And I mean, if they're shocked from me carrying a knife, I probably don't want to hang around them anyway, but or shocked or scared of it. But yeah, that's all I got today. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry if I was a little bit rambly and not as, I don't know, not as clean and as good as I have been. I haven't been doing as many videos recently, so I'm not as smooth and as in the reviewing mood as I have been in the past. But that's all I got today. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.